going to continue to bring the parts to you with another copycat recipe that we found. So those of you who follow our blog at Mouse Mom's blog and our podcast, Mouse Mom's a Disney podcast, know that I fancy myself a connoisseur of chicken wings. Love them. And I've made for you before the coriander chicken wings from Ohana at Disney's Polynesian Resort. Well, on our recent Mouse Mom's trip to Walt Disney World and Universal, we fell in love with the chocolate coffee stout chicken wings at Toothsome Chocolate Emporium in CityWalk at Universal. They were outstanding, and I've been trying to find a recipe so that I could recreate them at home. And I want to thank our friends at Sugar, Spice, and Glitter for coming up with a copycat recipe, which ironically has no chocolate or coffee in it. But these are the ingredients. So we have some water, some brown sugar, some garlic, and some red onion, whatever your favorite stout is, whatever you can find, balsamic vinegar, Worcestershire sauce, and tomato paste. So I have in the oven right now a couple of pounds of chicken wings that I separated and I patted dry with a towel. It's really important to do that because you don't want them to steam. You want them to get nice and crunchy, and if they're wet, they won't. So those are in the oven right now, baking at a really hot oven, about 400 degrees for about 30-35 minutes. And now we're just gonna go ahead and make the sauce. So I have a saucepan here warming up, and I'm just gonna add to that a couple of tablespoons of any kind of oil. I use olive oil for just about everything, so we'll just add some of that in there. Again, if you've seen any of my cooking videos before, you know that I tend not to measure. So we're gonna just saute a little bit of diced red onion, about a quarter of an onion. Let that go for a couple of minutes. And some garlic. We're gonna whisk that in. Go ahead, give that a little whisk. Turn this down just a little bit because I don't want it to burn.
We have a Mickey whisk.
Yes, we have our Mickey whisk that we love. All right, we're just gonna let those go for a couple of minutes, and in the meantime, I already have in my measuring cup a quarter cup of water, so I'm just gonna add to that another quarter cup of balsamic vinegar.
It already smells delicious, and we haven't even.
Oh, onions and garlic smell so good together, like absolutely. So while that's going, all right, let's see here. Oh, it smells so good. I love the smells of onion and garlic sauteing.
So
it's just
good.
Absolutely delicious. All right, so that's going. We'll let that sit for a minute. I'm gonna grab this. So again, it's a quarter cup of balsamic and a quarter cup of water. I'm just gonna add that right in there. Give that a little whisk, please. Yes, please. And now for the fun part. We're going to.
Like red wine with like.
It does look like red wine. It smells really sweet now. That's the balsamic. So now we're gonna go with
the beer.
Whoopsies! A half a cup. Ah, making a mess. A half a cup of Guinness.
That's what happens when you're cooking or baking.
Where am I?
You are.
I got a bit of a head on here. I'm gonna let that settle out. It always does take a minute for Guinness to settle out. Of course, for those of you who like to drink stout, you know that I'm totally pouring it wrong. Third of a cup of brown sugar. We'll just pop that right in there. Go ahead, my whisker. And about a tablespoon of tomato paste. I love to buy tomato paste in these little tubes because it stays better. You know, if you buy it in a can and you don't use the whole can, then what do you do with it? This keeps it nice and fresh for you. Okay.
Oh, it smells so good.
So, I pretty much nailed it with the Guinness. A little bit more. All right, so here's my half a cup of stout. I'll put that in.
Oh, it turned it a completely different color.
And then, yeah, so we're gonna let that go for a little bit. And then one of the other things you wanna do is just add some Worcestershire sauce to taste. I haven't tasted it yet, so I'm gonna let it cook down for a minute. And then I'll add some Worcestershire sauce and we'll see where we are with how it tastes, if it tastes like the real thing. Okay, so my wings are done. I've got them in this bowl here. And my sauce, if you can see it, has thickened up. It reduced by about half and thickened up nicely. And now I'm just gonna add some Worcestershire sauce to taste. I'm not really sure how much to add. Go ahead and give that a whisk, sweetheart.
Alrighty. Wow, that got thick.
Yeah, it did. All right, let's give it a little taste, see if we need to add some more. Careful.
Sorry.
Maybe a little bit more.
Wait, can I taste it first?
Sure, grab a tasting spoon. I actually think it needs a little salt too.
Before you do.
Go ahead, whisk it up real quick.
So that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, go ahead and give it a taste.
Like syrup. Hot.
It is a little hot. Be careful.
Mmm.
What do you think? More Worcestershire? Let me grab another tasting spoon. Oh, I think that did it. I think that was it. All right. So what we're gonna do here, I think there's someone in my family who prefers plain wings. So go ahead and take a look at the sauce. See how nice and thick it is.
See here, if I put a whisk in it, it's like you can
really
like
thick.
see the wrinkles at the top.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
don't know if you can see on camera, but you can in real life.
Yeah. All right. So we're just gonna strain out. Remember how we had some onions and garlic? So we're going to strain out the sauce as we pour it over the wings.
Did you catch my dance?
So we'll get rid of that. And we'll stir them up. And who wants to taste with me?
Me.
All right. Okay, it's gonna be pretty hot.
The cameraman does too.
The cameraman's gonna have to wait until her hands are free.
I'll do it.
Okay, here,
No,
let's
I got
taste now, guys. You don't want to taste it? Okay. I guess I'll give it a taste. It's really, really hot.
Because I don't want to burn my mouth. Are you like picking off a bone?
Mmm. It's pretty close. Pretty close to the real thing. Delicious. Anyway, for more recipes and more things that'll help take you back to the theme park, be sure to follow us on Mouse Mom's a Disney podcast on Facebook. Listen to our podcast, Mouse Mom's a Disney podcast, and check out our blog, Mouse Mom's blog.